right.
All right. Faith
Yes.
might join as well.
Hopefully, yes. That'd be good.
Yep. So I'm ready when you are.
All right, let's go.
Okay. So I've been looking at lighters and cigars lately.
Oh yeah.
Mainly DuPont lighters and yeah, DuPont lighters. ST DuPont lighters. I've just been curious. Might be something I might want to do. I might want to collect lighters for some weird reason. I think it might be cool. Not like the smoke. I don't really have anything to celebrate, so maybe not smoke them, but it might be good to try one at least once.
Yeah.
I'm
Sweet.
hoping that Faithy joins. I want to ask her why she hates Andrew Tate.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, I on one hand, I can understand where she's coming from with what's been said about him, but on the other hand, I think it's important to do research because you never know unless you understand the full context. Not to say everyone doesn't understand, but you never know if you'd be lied to. What if what we see right now is just an illusion? We're
True.
made to believe what we want to believe.
And you can live in your own fantasy land.
Yes. And no matter how hard you try to be red pilled, you're always going to get blue pilled out of nowhere.
Yep.
You got to have a sharp mind.
Yes. Yes. I don't get why she thinks that men thinks she was mad. I don't get what she was talking about earlier. Well, I can understand that she doesn't want men to take over, but the country, the world was built by men. It was built by it. Every major corporation was built by a man, or the vast majority of them.
Hmm.
Uh, I'll give them that. I'll give the. There have been some very famous female scientists. Uh, Madame Curie, Mary. Not to mention, I will give them the fact that a woman did help create the atomic bomb. I did help Einstein create the atomic bomb. Basically, finish the Manhattan Project. So they did help build that. I'm not saying women can't become the biggest, richest man, the richest person in the world, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime this century. I could be wrong.
I think it takes determination for women to show that they could do whatever a man can. It's just that little amount of determination that there is representation on their behalf. There needs to be something that's shown that it is possible, regardless of gender, religion, sexuality, at most, or
Well,
whatever people group, there is a chance that you can make it.
I am going to say this: not all women were put in position. Not all women were given their position because of their talent. A vast majority of them, and this is sad to say, but it kind of demeans women's success, but which is true and it happens sense, is the fact that a vast majority of these women, they were put in positions that they had no business being put into. They didn't have the skills, they didn't have the talent. They were just put in there because they wanted to compete. They wanted to say, "Oh, we hired our first female VP," even for
Yay!
a job.
Oh, bug off.
And I'm not
What's her experience? What's her background? Exactly. They don't know it. They do what they do. It's just ridiculous.
I know there are people, and I'm not saying all women were put in this position like this. I'm sure there's some ones that are very qualified for the jobs, and they were given this promotion, given these opportunities. But you've got a quick question of a lot of them: were they truly given this role because of their talents, or were they just promoted for worship, for virtue? Like the GM CEO Mary Barra, she's unqualified, unfit, and quite honestly, I'm surprised she hasn't been sacked. And she's going to be one of the main reasons why General Motors probably goes under. That's just one. What else? Not to mention, I think there will be there. I personally believe that the future of American companies are all being run by India. Like, so basically, yeah, Google Indian, Microsoft Indian. Uh, there's probably others. So what else is there?
So, have you heard the news?
What news? That Obama might be gay?
Well, we already know that. I'm talking about another thing.
What's other news? We're getting
Uh,
a CBDC.
no, there's this new immigration rule for the UK.
So what's the immigration law?
So, basically, in short, even if you're a foreigner, where you're allowed to enter the UK visa free, you still need something that's called an ETA. So you need permission, even if you're a foreigner in a country where you can enter the UK visa free, you still need permission to come into the country to do whatever, and you can stay no longer than 6 months, with the exception of going there for work or even long-term study.
So even if they have to they actually have to go for citizenship.
Yes, you need to ask permission to the government to enter the country, apply for citizenship, by it seems.
How's the vast majority taking that?
Well, what do you think?
Well,
You should know. You should know that.
the
We
left's
we
probably
all
gonna
know
have
it.
a fucking field day, but let's be real here.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
quite a field day, that's for
it
sure.
is a little bit concerning, but something has to be done about immigration.
Yeah,
But
but not like this.
so what's the what? So what? Let's repeat what they're doing again. So they're basically blocking anybody from coming into the country.
Technically, yes. What they're promoting is they need to ask the government permission to enter the country, even to foreigners in countries that are given free access into the UK. You still need to ask the government, "Hey, can I come in?" And then if they say yes, then you can go in.
I wonder how that'll. I wonder if that'll stop the boats.
I don't think it's about the boats.
What do you think
That,
it's
that's
about?
that's a that's a separate story with the
So what do you think it's
boats.
about then? What do you think it's about? Control, authoritarianism?
Well,
Has
I,
Sunak killed his opportunity of staying in power, or is he?
oh no, he's killed his chances ages ago. At this point, people are safely saying, in the next election, Labour majority.
That'll never fucking happen. That'll never fucking happen.
Well, the odds say otherwise. And I know you don't like it, but that's how.
Don't believe everything here in the media. I wouldn't trust Starmer with it if I could touch him with 2 pennies.
Oh no, I'm not paying attention to the media. The bookies are saying that it's going to
Well,
happen on the.
the bookies said that Trump would never win, and he did win. So he's still got his chances.
Yeah.
If he can fucking fix the economy, because trust me, it's not going to get better under Starmer. Starmer's a fucking idiot. If you're under Starmer, Jamie, you're going to be getting rid of your oil and gas. You'll be dependent on the thingy, and we'll be literally sucking up. The LGBTQ will be plastered around every fucking sit. Will be plastered all around England. You've seen the state of Scotland. Don't let it come to that point.
No. I feel sorry for Scots.
We
What they
are.
got into.
I hate the LGBTQ. I think it's a lot of nonsense. It's like a cult of mentally ill people. It doesn't help the fact there's a representative in my state, down the road, a representative in like one of my districts that is transgender. I
It
never
is
thought it
very
would happen.
it is very important to ask people why you're feeling the way you are. Why are you doing the things that you're doing? You
I
must
think
ask
it's a
people
lot
these
of it. I think
questions.
it's mainly really for attention. What we need to do is stop giving these people attention. Stop acknowledging their existence. Because if we acknowledge their existence, we're just encouraging their behavior. It's like saying when a baby cries, you don't give it attention because you're just rewarding it. What we need to do is figure out a way to lower prices on properties. What we need is cheap food. We need the pricing on food to be as cheap as possible.
Uh-huh.
We need the prices on property to be cheap. So what I'm thinking to solve that, I'm thinking, what if we were to create a bond? What if we were to create like a special thing, right? That would basically help give everybody, give people, everyday people, an opportunity to basically buy a house. So basically, cutting the prices in half, right? And give it, and it's only a certain type of thing that's only allowed for everyday people, for the everyday people, for the people, and not and big corporations can't use it. What I'm suggesting we do is give massive loopholes for everyday people, but bar and control property, limit the amount of property uh, that like the likes of BlackRock, uh, Price Waterhouse Cooper, TSB, and all these banks in Britain can buy. Because I've heard rumors that TSB is looking to get into the property market, rental property markets, which is quite interesting. I don't think it'll take off, but so what else is there? So have you bought into any new companies lately?
No, I'm just reinvesting what I currently got.
Good strategy.
Yes. You never know the changes in the stock market or the economy, for that matter.
You got anything in pharmaceuticals?
Besides Johnson and Johnson, there's not much big pharma I'm investing in until right now.
True. Farm. If things go the way I think it is, you might be getting a shitload of money off Johnson Johnson soon.
Hmm Because of the
The sniff, yes.
the sniff. That's mad.
Yeah. Yeah. A district in California basically banned masks and vaccine, basically banned wearing of masks.
That's a start, I guess.
Yeah, but it's a district that's always mainly Republican.
Okay, that makes sense.
No,
Not that surprising.
because you'd be surprised, but there's a lot of Republicans in California. The only thing is, though, it's not enough to clear the state. I do think that California is that big; it should be split into two states. And I'm saying, like, it should be the north and the east of California. One side we should do north of California and east of California, split it down the middle, and basically one. I personally think that should be it. It would give more delicate seats, but remember, it would give more opportunities. But not to mention, it might be able to. It might give other. I think all the side with LA. I think everything to do with LA and Cupertino should be Cupertino, LA, California, Cupertino. All of that should be under one state, and the rest of it should be in another. Let San Francisco.
I kind of like the North-South California divide.
Yeah. Well, I think San Francisco part of California.
Oh yeah, it is a famous coastal city of
Why
California.
can't we make that? And why can't we make that and its surrounds areas its own state?
I don't think it's big. I don't think it's big enough to be its own state. I think it'll be as close as Rhode Island or Delaware. It's it's the smallest
And like
states there are.
let's go, but I'm saying the Bay Area, maybe
I
California
th-
is pretty big, you know.
yeah, I think San Francisco
Cities.
Bay and other neighboring neighborhoods. That I think that should be enough for it to become its own state.
Yeah,
Who
because
knows? It could be the next Washington D.C.
what do you mean a shithole?
Well, yes, but it's also like a district that's predominantly Democrat. Washington D.C. ever since the U.S. has ever been established, it's always voted Democrat. We had this discussion like ages ago.
Yeah, New
I mean,
York
like,
has only ever really voted Republican every so often, and that was under Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Republican. There was a New York mayor. Why is there? Yeah, there was a New York mayor. So can you explain to me the whole structure of London and the fact why there's a mayor? How there's a mayor? Why there's a mayor of London, and that's the only place that has a mayor.
okay, so in short, there's two types of Londons. There's Greater London, the London you know of, and there's the City of London, which, get this, it is not it's not as a traditional city in a sense. It is a corporation.
Oh, so you know that much. Okay.
Yes, yes. The
So
quote
my
City
suspicions
of
are
London.
that the city of New York, the city of London, is basically the de facto headquarters of the deep state, or of the Rothschilds. Basically, it's
Yes,
how their empire.
yes, and also quote City of London has its functions as if it's a country of its own right. It has its own military, its own police, its own everything, as if it was a country of its own. Just like with Greater London, there's different boroughs with its own administrative powers.
So, do you secretly believe that the Edinburgh, but the Windsor, the British Empire is still intact, but it's just in the shadows?
Yes. I mean, we know too much. Why would they expose it now?
We know too much, or they know too much.
I think we know too much about them.
Hmm. Or is it just the information? They're still censoring people on Twitter and X, by the way.
Hmm. What else is new?
You know the video with Barry and his ex lover, right?
Uh-huh.
That only got 26 million views. I thought that would have done a lot more than that. That should have done at least 50, and it only did 26 million views. I'm thinking that might have been censored. So, should we dive into the Rothschilds? Let's do the history of the Rothschilds.
Yes, that'd be good.
I'll let you dive in. So let's start off with what was that? We had that post. So where's that post that we put that I put in the chat once?
um, not sure.
I'll let you read it out. Start from it, and we'll read through all of it.
I hope I can find it.
It's in here. It's in the 2024 presidential chat.
Yes, indeed.
It's a couple of weeks ago. I sent it in, didn't I?
A couple of weeks ago. Was it?
It's on Twitter. I
Oh,
really am becoming a fan of.
interesting.
What? We found it.
No, not yet. I just found it interesting.
Uh,
Let's see what else.
I post too much. Let's
Oh, anything. You're not posting enough.
on tweet. I don't tweet the stuff I want to really tweet because I know I don't want to get my account banned.
Yeah.
TikTok. Pedo Prince Andrew. Okay. Interesting.
Oh, I found the post you posted on the 22nd of August.
Okay, what was that one? Is that the
So
post?
it's a pyramid scheme that shows where you are, which power position you are in the pyramid. So there's the population, the workers at the bottom. Above is the world population control, such as religions, governments, intelligence community.
Okay, I found it. Okay, I found it. I'll send it in the
Okay.
chat and we'll all read it together. We'll read it together.
And then there's the world resource controls, the big companies and corporations.
Okay, found it. Put it in the chat.
All right.
We'll start with Fred 1. Fred 1. Okay, so let's dive into it. I'll let you read it out and I'll add to bits.
All right.
Fred 1. Unmasking the Corporation of London. Unmasking the Corporation of London as the Deep State 1. I'll let you continue.
All right. The Corporation of London, often overlooked, plays a pivotal role as the deep state. Let's uncover its influence, key figures, and the web of control it exerts over centuries over the entire planet and still does to this day. 12th century origins. Founded in the 12th century, the
That was
corporation's root lies.
second century, wasn't it? Oh, the 12th.
No, no, the 12th. This is the origins of the corporation. 12th century origins. Founded in the 12th century, the corporation's roots lie in trade and financial power. Over time, it evolved into a complex entity intertwined with British governance and global affairs. The Corporation of London is also unique in local government as it has no charter of incorporation nor any specific date of establishment. The
Hmm.
Square Mile. The corporation's jurisdiction over the City of London, known as the Square Mile, grants its unique status. It operates as an independent entity with its own laws, often operating beyond public scrutiny. In the heart of London, the Square Mile wields immense financial power. It's a realm where the Crown's influence and the Rothschild family's legacy converge, shaping global finance.
With over 500,000 registered companies, it's a beacon of economic control. The 10, the 10 largest occupation of floor space in the City of London: Goldman Sachs, UBS, Bank of England, Deloitte, Nomura, CMS, JP Morgan Chase, M&J, Deutsche Bank, Schreiders, and Bank of New York Mellon. Now, what comes to mind when you think of those companies?
They are
Titan.
big financial corporations.
Wait, Jamie, didn't JP Morgan and his pals create the Federal Reserve in America?
Oh, yes, they did.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
Well, let's go on to the next part.
All right then, let's go.
Wait, is it part two? Okay, part
Yes, there's
two.
enough. Yes, details.
Okay,
The Square Mile, the
part two.
Crown and Rothschild family. Crown's presence. The Square Mile's historical connection to the British monarchy is profound. The Crown's authority mingles with the Corporation of London's governance, creating a unique blend of financial and royal influence. Crown Land. The Corporation of London administers Crown land within the Square Mile, dating back to the medieval era. This distinctive arrangement illustrates the intertwining of financial power and royal
Progenitive. Prerogatives.
prerogatives. Rothschild's legacy. The Rothschild family, renowned for its global banking
Banking
dynasty,
dynasty.
has played a significant role in the Square Mile's financial dynamics. Nathan Mayer Rothschild's presence further strengthened the family's ties to British governance and economic policies.
In 1815, Nathan Rothschild virtually bought the Bank of England. So basically, let's dive into this and basically, after the Battle of Waterloo, Nathan's own courier was the first to reach England, bringing news that Wellington had won the battle, thus the war. Armed with this critical information, Nathan began selling up his British war bonds, fooling other traders into believing Napoleon had won instead. Panic, those traders quickly began selling off their own near worthless bonds, at which point Nathan ordered his workers to buy up as many of those bonds as they could. Once the news reached London and Wellington had won, Nathan's newly acquired bonds gathered more value than they had before the entire war. The ownership of such high value bonds meant that the Rothschilds literally owned the Bank of England. From that moment onward, the interests of the British Crown and the Rothschilds became so entwined that Rothschilds were given titles of nobility through intermarriage. The Rothschilds became royalty. Nathan Rothschild, born in Frankfurt, 1777 to 1836. You there?
Yep, sir. Bank of Amsterdam slash Bank of England. Role of Rothschilds.
Wait,
The
wait a second. Just for clarification, guys, these are the Rothschilds that backed Napoleon and backed the guy in Waterloo. These guys, I have my suspicions that these guys backed the American Revolution and also played both sides, the British and Americans. These people started the riots in France. These people, I have connections, have been controlling things from the sidelines. Everything that you know, these people controlled World War One, World War Two. Their family guys, you need to realize the Rothschilds, right? They were kicked out of Germany by Hitler. They didn't like that. There's other ties, but yeah, let's continue.
All right. The role of the Rothschilds. The Rothschild family combined with the Dutch House of Orange to found Bank of Amsterdam in the early 1600s as the world's first central bank. In 1694, William III teamed up with the Rothschilds to launch the Bank of England. The Old Lady of Threadneedle Street, as the Bank of England is known, is surrounded by 30-foot walls. 3 floors beneath is the third largest stock of gold bullion in the world is stored. Rothschild controlled Bering bankrolled the Chinese opium and African slave trades. It financed the Louisiana
Louisiana
Purchase.
Purchase, when several states defaulted on its loans, which they guys for other reconciliation, right? They were the people that controlled those loans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the funny thing with that is they were basically asking for all their money back. They couldn't afford the loans, so basically took it as purchase. And guys, what we need to realize, you know, the bank. So what was the reset? You know what was the darkest day in investing, right? Where everything went to almost zero in the stock market, right?
Yeah,
That was them as well.
that's mad.
Yes, that was them. And guys, there's a secret. There's nothing stopping them from doing this again anytime they want, anytime they wish. But
No,
continue,
it's
Jamie.
all right. The state held their ground, so the House of Rothschild cut off the money spigot in 1842, plunging the US into a deep depression. It was often said that the wealth of the Rothschilds depended on the bankruptcy of nations.
I wonder why they're trying to bankrupt us. They bankrupt America. They bankrupt Britain. They bankrupt Germany. Where apparently every country in the world's apparently down were under 100 million trillion in debt to these
Yeah,
people.
yes. Mayor Amschel Rothschild once said, I care not who
Who
controls a
controls a
nation's
nation's political
policy
affairs?
affairs, so long
As
as I
long as
have
I
control
control
over
her currency.
currencies. War didn't hurt the family fortune either. The House of Rothschilds financed the Prussian
Persian
War.
War, the Crimea War, the British attempt to seize the Suez Canal from the French, and my suspicions, the American Revolution. The American Revolution and the Civil War in America. And a bunch of the other wars currently right now. My suspicions is that they helped back, the war in Ukraine, the war in Egypt, the war in Lebanon, the war in Kuwait, Iraq, Afghanistan. You can continue.
Alright then. Nathan Rothschild made a huge financial bet on Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo, while also funding the Duke of Wellington's Peninsular campaign against Napoleon.
Which is what I said earlier.
Exactly. Both the Mexican War and the Civil War were gold mines for the family.
What does this? I mentioned that again,
Oh
guys.
yes. Wow. Who would have predicted
Coincidence?
that?
What?
Yeah, that's interesting. A Rothschild family biography mentions a London meeting where an international banking syndicate
I
did,
wonder what.
yes,
Hmm.
decided to pit the American North against the South as part of a divide and conquer
Conkers,
strategy.
which is what they're trying to do again right now. But you've also got to remember these people. You've also got to remember these guys like to keep it in the family. These people, right, guys, are the reason why. Uh, what, what, what is that again? This is the reason why crossbreeding between families has become pretty much illegal in most countries is because of these guys, because they made retain their wealth by keeping it in the family. So each family
Yes.
member would marry a cousin, and
A
so on
rich
and
man,
so on and so
Alabama.
on. And I suspect that they're still doing it to this day.
Yes. All right. German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck once stated that the division of the United States into federations of equal
Equal
force
forces was decided long.
died long before the Civil War. These bankers were afraid that the United States would upset their financial domination over the world. The voice of the Rothschilds prevailed.
The voice of the Rothschilds always prevail.
Indeed, they are.
Solomon Rothschild said of a deceased president, Lincoln, he rejects all forms of compromise. He has the appearance of a peasant and can only tell broom stories. This just speaks entitlement from this guy.
Oh, yes. I've heard
Well,
that many
this is what
times
you
in my
get when you
years
pick
of.
Lucy the people.
Yeah.
Arthur Frederick Morton estimates that by the 1850s, the Rothschilds were worth over 10 billion. Some research believe that their fortune today exceeds 100 trillion. What was Elon Musk's net worth?
Uh, 200 billion
Billion.
ish. Yeah, that's roughly more than that.
And they say Elon Musk's the richest man in the world.
Yeah,
Right.
that's public knowledge. The real wealth comes from private knowledge.
Private knowledge that we know.
Yes, but if people don't know about it, then
Masses don't
clearly
know,
we
but
won't we
we
won't make
know.
a big deal out of it.
Today, the Rothschilds control a far-flung financial empire, which include majority stakes in most world central banks. The Edmund de Rothschild clan owns the Banque Privée Celle Logona in Switzerland and the Rothschild Bank AG of Zurich. The family of Jacob Lord Rothschild owns the powerful Rothschild Italia in Milan. So, what does this tell you, Jamie? That they are very powerful bankers in Zurich.
Yes,
They are very powerful bankers in Milan.
yes.
Did we forget to tell you that in 2010 they merged the Paris and the British brands together into one company?
Oh, a bit then now.
Yes.
Kind of like what BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street did. By merging their powers, they have influence across the world and enforce behaviors to their liking.
I personally believe that BlackRock and the Rothschilds are one and the same. They're probably owned by BlackRock is probably owned by the Rothschilds. But let's continue.
All right.
Today, the Rothschilds control his far-flung financial empire, which includes majority stakes in most world central banks. The Edmund de Rothschild clan owns the Banquise Privée in Lugano, Switzerland, and the Rothschild Bank AG in Zurich. Family of Jacob Lord Rothschild owns the powerful Rothschild Italia in Milan. They are members of the exclusive Club of the Isles, which provide capital for George Soros. George Soros!
Oh,
That guy! The guy
our
that
boy
hates
George
democracy!
Soros. Interesting.
Soros!
Quantum Fund, NV.
The guy that shorted the British pound, the guy that killed the Russian ruble, and the guy that is hated by his own fucking race, the Hungarians.
Wow, that's mad.
Everybody in the country, Italy, every country knows that he's evil. There's people that want a death warrant after this man. Quantum Fund (NV), which made a killing in 1998, 1999, destroying the currencies of of Thailand, Indonesia, and Russia, and also the British pound.
Soros was a major shareholder at Harkin Energy. Global economic impact, the Crown's connection to the Square Mile, and the Rothschild family's legacy have far-reaching implications on the global economy from ancient times to this day. In summary, the Square Mile's financial dominance is intrinsically linked to the Crown's presence and the Rothschild family's legacy. Their roles in shaping global finance, monetary policies, and investment strategies continue reverber, reverberates, making the square mile a center of both economic control and historical.
Guess we're on to number 3 and masking the Corporation of London as a deep state 3.
Hold on, I think that's it.
No, there's number 3.
Really?
There's another one.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Unmasking the Corporation of
Corporation of
London
London
this
as a deep state 3.
yes, economic supremacy.
Supremacy.
The corporation's economic dominance was solidified through trade, privileges, and connections with influential families.
You don't think these guys are going to go after us? This is public knowledge.
It's public knowledge. Why would people go after us about that?
It's you have to search for it, but these people are the ones that put it in my feed.
Yes, they're the one putting it out. So how can they can put the blame and spreading the information that's being promoted?
Maybe they didn't want us to tell it. Okay.
Okay, but I mean, what have
The
they
role
say?
shaping economic policy. Okay. So where were we at now?
So I just said economic supremacy. The
Okay.
corporation's economic dominance was solidified through trade, privileges, and connections with influential families. Its role in shaping economic policies and global markets extended its influence. Key figures. Over centuries, key figures like Nathan Mayer Rothschild, Robert Peel, and other aligned with the corporation.
I
Their
suppose you could
influence.
say Klaus Schwab in that aspect as well,
Yeah, Klaus
and Bill
Schwab.
Gates.
Oh yes,
Did you
our
hear
guy
that Bill
Klaus.
Gates has apparently bought a massive stake in Anheuser-Busch?
Oh, I
It
didn't know
makes you
that.
question, was this deliberate so he could buy at a fucking cheap price? With the whole
I
Bud
mean,
Light shit?
who
Or is this
wouldn't
just
buy shit cheap?
or was this just something spontaneous out of the norm?
Okay, definitely not that. Everything's planned.
Also, you got to remember, isn't the name of the corporation what they called this thing in 1984?
Possibly.
Pretty sure.
No. Yeah, it's pretty sure there is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We should also Should we cut out all that bullshit from before and that and just go straight to this?
Hmm.
Or should we
Nah.
roll it in?
Nah.
Or
Just
should we roll it
just
in?
leave it. If it was that bad, we would have been cut off by now.
True. No, I mean, I'm not saying cut it. I mean, cut the stuff that we were talking about at the start and just go straight into this bit.
Okay. Yeah.
But actually, nah. Let's keep it all in.
Yeah. That's a good introduction.
Yeah, good introduction. Over centuries, key figures like Nathan Mayers, Rothschild, Robert Peel, and others aligned with the corporation, their influence intertwined economic interests, political power, create a nexus of control. I care not what puppet is placed upon the throne of England to rule the empire on which the sun never sets. The man who controls Britain's money supply controls the British Empire, and I control the British money supply. Nathaniel Rothschild.
Nathan Mayer Rothschild's financial ties with the British government and involvement in the opium trade made him a key player. His influence extended across continents, showcasing the far-reaching impact of the British deep state.
You've also got to realize him expanding the opium trade was him with the slave thing, right? They practically fucking created America.
America.
They practically created America.
What the fuck's a kilometer? It's a meme.
You'll see later on in this, but if I remember correctly, they basically talk about him at basically freaking using these people to basically expand the empire and basically go at and colonize America. But we'll dive into it.
Yes. Robert Peel's policies. Robert Peel, a key political figure, advanced policies favoring the corporation's interest. His policy favored the opium trade and colonial interests. His influence spanned multiple decades, furthering the deep state's control. The Opium Wars and their aftermath were consequences of this manipulative agenda.
Didn't the opium thing affect India and China?
Possibly, yeah.
You've also got to remember a bunch of the Rothschilds, they became very powerful in politics. They even created the church. They created the Church of Zionism, and they also built the build. Rothschilds also built the basically the new building for Israel. The house, basically the presidential buildings for Israel.
I mean, if you have all the money in the world, you can make anything happen.
One of them was opposed to Israel to the Zionists, right? And a vast majority of these guys were Zionists as well. But let's dive into it.
All right. The Rothschilds lent money to the British government during times of war, ensuring control over economic policies. This financial leverage provided them with substantial influence in colonial affairs.
This basically, they basically talk about World War One, World War Two,
Yes, the big wars.
in Syria, Afghanistan, all of these basically all you need to know is that the money the government gets for wars, right? It's the Rothschilds' money. That's all you really.
Yeah. Colonial exploitation. The corporation's involvement in colonial affairs extended to exploitation. Its roles in shaping laws, trade agreements, and economic structures fueled British colonial dominance, impacting regions around the world. 1600.
1600 East India Companies emerges.
The East
East India
India.
Company. That sounds like it talks about history. You remember this?
Yes,
That's known in history, ain't it?
yes. It's right there. You know it.
The East India Company's rise coincided with the ambitions of the British deep state, marking the beginning of their control in India. Key figures within the company facilitated British dominance through exploitation, divide, and rule tactics, which they like to use all the time, which they're trying to do with Britain and America.
Yes.
We're putting Republicans and Democrats and Labour and Conservative against each other.
The corporation's divide and rule tactics aimed to weaken unity and consolidate power. It exploited social, cultural, and religious differences to maintain control and hinder collective resistance.
Covert networks.
The
Corporations'
corporation's
covert
covert
networks.
networks extended beyond borders. It maintained connections with global elites, influencing international affairs while operating
So you're talking
discreetly
about the
from the
Bilderberg
shadows.
meetings. We're talking about Bilderberg meetings. We're talking about the NATO. We're talking about who. We're talking about WEF
Yes, talking about the
and Davos.
meetings that express the ideas of controlling the
So we're basically
population.
talking about the Bilderberg meetings. We're talking about the WEF, and we're basically talking about who
Oh yes,
and all them. That's basically what they're referring to. And there's probably some other private ones they're talking about on Skype as well, but we don't know about. But that's basically what you need to know about private meetings.
mm-hmm.
There's probably some to do with Bohemian Grove as well in there somewhere, but it's never going to be stated. But yeah,
Yeah.
what you need to know is the Freemason. America was built on Freemasonry, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the Freemasonry, right? There's a vast majority of the Rothschild clan could be Freemason members. But let's continue.
Yes. The corporation's covert networks extended beyond borders. It maintained control, connections with global elites, influencing international affairs while operating discreetly from the shadows. Intelligence networks established during
So we're
colonial
talking about the
times.
CIA, FBI,
Yes.
Assad, Mossad, and basically them. What we'll dive into this as well, but we'll say this as well. The CIA, this is another thing they use, right? The CIA in Hollywood, right? They use that. They and the Pentagon, a bunch of other things, right? They use this. They try to pre-program us so we're ready to accept what's coming in the future, right? So this is why the Simpsons TV show knows stuff before it happens. It's pre-programmed. Everything that we ever do is pre-programmed to happen. So what you see in the Hunger Games, right? It's not a dystopian future. It's not a dystopian horror scenario. It's our future. The fat people in Wall-E is not a dystopian thing. It's our future.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they plan for us. They blatantly give us hints through media and television. But guys, I was blind to this before. I never knew all of this. I never realized it until I actually got red pilled very hard.
Neither did I.
Neither did I. This
Yeah.
is how much they can. This is how much they've hid for you all. But let's continue.
All right. Intelligence networks established during colonial times had lasting effects. MI6 and other agencies left a legacy of covert intelligence, often interfering in domestic affairs and shaping post-independence policies.
They do this through movies and television and news, so like CNN, Fox. CNN, it's proponent to the left, Fox is proponent to the right. They use this to divide the country, and they use it to lie and manipulate to the people. This is how they got you and controlled you during lockdowns and COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Suppression of dissent. The corporation's influence sometimes involved suppressing dissent. Its connections with intelligence agencies and influence over media allowed it to control narratives and stifle voices challenging its power.
That's exactly what they did during COVID-19. They
It's
stopped
literally
us
the
from
media
posting
in
about
a
stuff on
nutshell.
Twitter. They stopped us from posting about stuff and warning people on YouTube. They silenced us. At some points, in certain countries, they even took away our bank accounts.
Manipulating legal systems.
Yes.
The corporation's influence extended to legal systems. Its connections with lawmakers and legal bodies allowed it to shape laws that favored its interest, maintaining its grip on power.
This is what Trump was facing, guys. This is what he was fighting against. This is what all politicians fight against. The vast majority of politicians you have, they're not even elected, they're instilled. It's hard to believe, but it's true.
Yeah. The British deep state's power structures were designed to remain concealed, allowing them to influence policy and governance from behind the scenes. Understanding these structures is crucial to grasp the truth extent of their
And the
control.
only reason why they're showing this information, guys, is because they believe they're too powerful and they have nothing to fear.
It is
If they
also
were,
a universal law. Just like with the Simpsons predictions, they have to tell you what is to happen as a way of saying, hey,
we
it
warned you,
happened.
we
Yes, we
warned you.
warned you. You let it happen. So it's your fault.
Yes,
That's
comic
what they're doing.
retribution.
Suppressed revolts. Throughout history, the corporation suppressed revolts against its control. It
So
used
we're
its
talking.
political.
So what we're talking about here is we're talking about the French Revolution. We're talking about the revolution in America. We're talking about the revolution in Africa. We're talking about the revolution in North Korea. We're talking in South Korea. We're talking about Japan. Talking about India. We're talking about all the revolutions in the world here.
It used its political, economic, and legal leverage to quell uprisings, ensuring its dominance endured.
So we're basically talking about what happened in France this year.
Indeed.
Which don't you think it's kind of a little bit weird how all this stuff went away, right?
Yeah, it's like it never even happened.
Because they control they slowly calm the people by they probably what do you think happened to all those protesters, right?
Well, you mean the actual protesters that weren't part of the agenda?
How do you know that these people are actually protesters? There's protesters and not literally people and not FBI agents trying to distill hate.
Well, how long would they be out there? How long would they have kept this going until someone's paid
You
hush
got
money to not bring this up again?
true.
If this kept going, you know it's part of the plan. If this was genuine against the higher ups, they would have been wiped away by now.
The fact that these people, what you also got to wonder is like the fact that they think that the Trump thing was planned, guys. What they did on January 6th was planned. There's a bunch of FBI agents there. There's proof that there's like foreign Ukrainian like Nazis and nationalists there as well for some odd reason. But that didn't get reported. They were questioning like people Trump supporters that were there, supposed Trump supporters there about the Ukrainian nationalists. They were questioning them about that, which is weird.
Yeah.
The Sepoy Rebellion of 1857, the history of legacy of the Indian Rebellion against the British East India Company. Charles Rivera, editors. Impact.
The corporation's influence persists in the modern world. Its involvement in global financial systems, multinational corporations, and political networks continues to shape global affairs.
So basically, what we're talking about here is Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, Fidelity, every corporation that we own. Effectively, guys, all the shares I own in these corporations, I might not even own those shares, effectively.
Well,
But
unless you're investing in Vanguard or BlackRock, then
I
but even then, you won't even have the slightest amount of power that they have.
Yeah. To be fair, I get the dividends, but I'm basically just playing a game here. I'm basically being an actor here.
Yeah, just go along with it.
Go along with it, because I'm basically receiving the dividend. Me and Jamie are both playing the game. Because me and him are both shareholders. We've got dividends, but we have no power. We can't vote. We don't really have a say in voting on those shares, right? Well, we can, but it's very hard. They make it extremely hard for retail shareholders to vote.
But even if we do have some amount of power, it won't be enough to
To stop
outshine
them.
as much as the people that we speak of.
Nope.
Yeah. The deep state's influence extended to perpetuating collective amnesia. Oh boy.
Interesting. So MK Ultra.
Yes.
Interesting.
Their control over narratives and information
led to lack of awareness about their exploitative practices. What you don't realize that what we should dive into Nestle as well. Nestle's probably got a big part in this as well. Is one of those corporations that do BlackRock, the Rothschilds bidding. Let's just continue.
Breaking this amnesia is a step towards justice. A call to unite. Uniting against the corporation's hidden influence is a call to action. By uncovering its role as the deep state, we empower ourselves to challenge manipulation, demand transparency, and foster a future built on genuine democracy.
How much do I think that they put that and bit as a fucking piss take joke?
Yeah.
They
We
know
are puny.
nothing, so
We must bow down to our leaders.
No, the fact that says we must uniting against the corporation. How can you compete against this?
Nah. What is this? Come on, this company. This is an outrage. That's just sad.
I still can't believe that they were allowed that Elon. If this is old Twitter, I'm surprised Linda Yaccarino was even allowing this post. Her paymasters must be allowing it. The most powerful man in the world, Mr. Burns, from The Simpsons, is based off Jacob Rothschild, net worth 500 trillion. Over every exaggerated bank in the world, financial both sides of every war since Napoleon. And basically, Mr. Burns from Simpsons was not based on Jacob Rothschild. Of course he was.
Yeah. We're sorry, we've been peer pressured. Oh, shut up. They're trying to hide it. Or they're just trying to like.
Miss Jacob's estimated net worth is about 5 billion. 5 billion, my fucking arse.
Yeah.
5 billion.
We already know. We already know what's really worth.
5 billion.
5 billion. Add a couple more zeros to it, and
Add
you might get a much more realistic figure. Yes.
So you're telling me a family that's been around, had power since Napoleon's only worth 5 billion?
Yeah. That's not. Nah.
Who are you fucking kidding?
Yeah, especially if they had influence over world
that
history.
Basically could control countries.
No,
you're telling me they
way
didn't
more money
amass
than
more
that.
than 5 billion. They've only amassed 5 billion. Fuck. If
that's
is true, then they're in the wrong industry.
If that's the case, then what's the case with Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk? Could they influence the world or world history for that matter?
They haven't got the power to do that. If you realize that those guys have their money is big. They have no power. They're broke.
What they're trying to cover up is bullshit. We know the influence they had over the years. It's inevitable. It's only a matter of time before you know what happens. Mark of the beast.
Well, it's about to happen anyway. Especially they're going to put we're going to all. You know the vaccine, right? Klaus Schwab in his thing said, by 2030 we will all have a chip in our brains, a chip implant.
That
My
tells
guess,
us everything about us.
what is it the chances that they literally put that in our meats, put that in our food? What's the chances that they put it in a vaccine? For all we know, they could have put a fucking chipped all of us when they got a vaccine. But well, this will be an interesting podcast when we release this.
Yeah.
This has got to be one of the most interesting ones we've ever done. We should do another podcast like this,
Yeah.
covering
I
some
love
other
it.
stuff.
Yes.
So what's the next topic that we can dive into? Should we dive into the Orsini and all the
Orsini,
other 13 families that control the world? We just dived into people that control the banking. What about the people that control the food?
Yes, the food.
The food people that control the food. The families that own all the food companies.
Yeah.
And then we've got the people that control oil, the people that control electric, the people that control. We just covered the banking. The people that own banks that control the banking sector. There's the food. There's the healthcare. There's the pharmaceutical sector. We haven't covered oil and gas. The people that own oil that control the oil and gas. 13 families control the world. How many industries are there? Or major industries?
I think at least 14. Last time I remembered.
13 families, 14 industries, all controlled and dominated by one person, one family. The 14 families, all industries dominated by one family member. We'll dive into. So, which one should we dive into next? The people that control the oil,
Yeah.
or the people that control steel, or the people that control.
I think an oil's a good one.
We'll do oil then. That'll be fun. Should we end this here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So good.